weekend, Jeff Bezos tied the knot with Lauren Sanchez in an understated and elegant ceremony in Venice. I'm kidding, of course. It was a $50 million star-studded bash that Lauren Sanchez said was actually all about love.
I just want the whole thing to feel full of love. That's really what this is about.
It's all about love. It's all about love. Something that Lauren Sanchez knows more about now that she has been to space.
We're so connected, more connected than you realize, because you just see right here, you see states and all these things that divide us, but we're not.
We're not. There's nothing dividing you, separating you from Lauren Sanchez, except the literal armed guards she hired to separate you from her. The literal armed guard she hired to protect the earrings she's wearing on her wedding day. I mean, look, those are perfectly fine, lovely sentiments from Lauren Sanchez. The problem is the internet is not receiving them quite that way. Go online and you will see negative reactions to this wedding across the board. I mean, left and right. Frankly, the thing that is bringing us together, the thing that is keeping us from being divided, is Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's wedding. That is bringing us together more than anything else really could. And reactions to this wedding are probably best summarized shortly, succinctly, as money cannot buy class. Insecurity is loud and obnoxious. Confidence is quiet and discreet. I'm so sick of everyone who attended that wedding preaching to us about global warming and having nothing to say about the 100 private jets, yacht, or the chemicals going into the sea. This was not the wedding of the century. There was absolutely no heart or soul. It wasn't aesthetically beautiful. Truly, money can't buy beauty or elegance. So what we are dealing with here, folks, is an example of complete narrative control collapse. The wheels have come off the train, and the Bezos Sanchezes are no longer controlling the narrative about their own wedding or the celebration. The words coming out of the Bezos Sanchez's mouth in their Vogue spreads and other things, and the messages they are emitting, are at total odds with one another. And the public is not buying it. And I want to say, I actually don't mind if Jeff Bezos wants to have a $50 million wedding. If 61-year-old Jeff Bezos wants to get sudsed up on a yacht and celebrate his everlasting love with Lauren Sanchez, fine. But it is actually culturally appropriate, healthy, and good for society that the collective nationwide response to that is, ew, what the fuck? Like, that is actually good for the world. And I will explain what I mean and why, because that is what we are talking about today. My name is Carly Riley. This is the Carly P. Riley Show. I look at what powerful people are saying and I ask, what the fuck are they talking about? Or in this case, what the fuck are they doing? What are they doing? If you would like to join me twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays while I do that, I would love to have you subscribe to the channel or comment below or share this video if you find it at all entertaining or get some value out of it. So look, my favorite reaction to this wedding, and it's not even close, comes from an Italian designer, a 100-year-old, renowned, beloved Italian tailor who works on bespoke garments, height of luxury and class. His reaction to Jeff Bezos' tuxedo. The most terrible, frightening, horrible tuxedo ever seen in my life. OMG. Elegance is not an empty word. I can't stand it. Really suffering. The idea that the third wealthiest man in the world, $50 million wedding, and he is sending this poor old ancient 100-year-old Italian man, though I think it's actually his daughter running the account, but anyways, into cardiac arrest, fills me with the kind of soaring joy that it's really hard to put a number on, you know? The kind of soaring joy that $237 billion just can't buy. And look, this was the reaction across the board to everything these people did. The wedding invitations were largely seen as hideous and ugly and cheap looking, although also believed to be a PR stunt, because magically the invitations ended up being leaked to Good Morning America, and it was revealed to all of us that they were donating to Venetian charities. And this is the perfect example of the kind of narrative control collapse that I am talking about. I don't know whether or not Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez actually leaked their wedding invitation or had somebody leak their wedding invitations to Good Morning America, but the fact that so much of the public believes it's true, or we all very easily believe that they would do that, demonstrates how the dance they're trying to perform for us is not being received in the way they would like. Lauren Sanchez says this wedding is all about love. To Vogue, she called her wedding dress elegant and timeless. Gabbana of Dolce & Gabbana, who is her designer, who designed the wedding dress and designed many of the outfits, said to Vogue that Lauren Sanchez wants to do a very classic and elegant wedding, and that she didn't want to do something very flashing or bling bling. And yet, 2 sentences later in this Vogue article, 2 sentences later, it says this: Sanchez is wearing the cushion-cut pink engagement diamond she found under her pillow on the 417-foot sailing yacht where Jeff Bezos proposed to her, but she won't be wearing that diamond at the ceremony. She will, however, be wearing other Dolce & Gabbana earrings, which are 4 diamonds cut from a single stone and inlaid in white gold, which arrived by armored van for the shoot, and which have a guard standing ominously on a nearby hillock. The mouth is saying one thing, the images you're projecting are saying another. And this is the thing, it doesn't matter how many times you scream to Vogue or a nearby reporter upon landing back on Earth after your space exhibition that you are all for love and connection. I'm sure that is true. I'm sure Lauren Sanchez is a lovely human who wants to celebrate love, and you can in fact celebrate love and have an armored guard looking out for your earrings. But one of those images to the public is gonna scream a lot louder than the other one. And what it's screaming is let them eat cake. It's screaming, let them eat fucking cake, bitches. That is what your armor-guarded earrings are screaming. And that is narrative control collapse. When your mouth is saying one thing and the images you're projecting to the world, are saying a very different thing. And this is the critical piece. The image you are projecting to the world, because the truth is, the reaction to this is not just that they are spending this money. Spend $50 million on your wedding, you created Amazon, fine. It is the sense that they want us to see this. They want us to see this. She did a full spread shoot with Vogue. They did a foam party on a yacht for an event in which they knew there was going to be tons and tons of paparazzi around. There is a desire to flaunt this, to show off. And this is really important to understand because people are not reacting to the lack of taste by itself. They're reacting to the sense that aesthetic choices were made for the sake of showing off money rather than choices that were made because it actually brought the couple and their loved ones joy, which is why it also feels so ridiculous to watch 25-year-old Sydney Sweeney arriving at the wedding of this 55-year-old woman and her 61-year-old husband. And while I am a capitalist who subscribes to the age-old adage that it is the worst of all systems barring everything else, and I would rather have Jeff Bezos spending his money, I would much rather Jeff Bezos spend $50 million on his wedding than hoard that $50 million like an oligarchic Scrooge up in his tower counting his coins. Rich people should spend their money. They should donate their money. They should spend their money. That is what they should do. So great. Have your $50 million wedding. But again, the correct, appropriate, healthy cultural response to that is to say, ew, what the fuck are they doing? Barack Obama made a documentary a few years ago, and he had a line in there that has stuck with me for years. I think it is so important to understand.
Growing up, I knew what the middle class looked like. And I saw it on TV.
Look at this here, he's loaded up.
Working people and their struggles around work were part of the culture. Meanwhile, popular culture portrayed rich people as these oddball outliers. They were always a little weird.
Rich people were portrayed as weird. And working class people is what was reflected in the culture. And that all shifted in the 80s, which Obama talks about. You had the greed is good era, and suddenly there was this obsession and fixation and fetishization, that's a very hard word to say, fetishization of rich people, of the lives of the rich and famous. And celebrity culture in the early 2000s were, while on the one hand it was all about tearing these people down, there was also a love for it. And we are now seeing a backlash to that, where people are going, we find this gross and weird. The idea that popular culture portrayed rich people as these oddball outliers, they were always a little weird, as Obama said in that documentary. That is the cultural reaction we are having to Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez throwing a foam party on their yacht. It's a little weird. And it is healthy to have that, because the truth is there are only so many checks that a system can have against something like Jeff Bezos. It is, of course, reasonable to say we want these people to pay more taxes. The reality, and I know people don't like to hear this, but in the case of somebody like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, where the vast majority of their eye-popping fortunes are wrapped up in equity, in stocks for their companies, it is very hard to tax him. Now, Jeff Bezos in particular basically moved himself to Florida before he sold a bunch of his Amazon stock in order to avoid tax. That's annoying. But that is a very hard thing to legislate around. We have different states with different tax rates. But there is power in culturally deciding we don't think this is cool. Because these people do care about that. Jeff Bezos cares profoundly about being cool. Mark Zuckerberg cares profoundly about being cool. We can tell based on everything they do. You don't do a full shoot in Vogue if you don't want to be perceived by the public. And so public perception matters. And signaling as a culture that we don't think this is cool, that we think donating your money is cool, is actually a very healthy and important signal to send to the culture and to the next generation who's growing up. The future Jeff Bezos is watching the culture say, we don't think this is cool or should be fetishized. Will it work? Probably not. I imagine Jeff Bezos will be lathering himself up with foam on a $400 million yacht for many years to come, and Lauren Sanchez will continue to bare her bare ass to a long lens paparazzi photos. But calling it out is a healthy cultural instinct. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I would love if you would consider sharing it with somebody else who you think might enjoy it, or subscribing to the channel.